Hello everybody, it's Jonathan Reeves here from Innovative Vectorworks BIM, and today we're going to be looking at some new features of Twinmotion 2020. Now the new version's just been released by Epic, and if you haven't seen it you need to take a look now. It's pretty awesome. So we're going to be checking out some of the new features in a series of videos. So the very first feature we're going to look at is the new scatter tool. Now this is pretty amazing, the Vegetation Scatter tool. So basically what we're going to do to take a look at this, we're going to add a primitive, and we're going to kind of basically just have a look at this in the scene here. And what we're going to do is basically now kind of get some materials, and yeah, let's go for a ground, and let's get some grass, and we'll drag that onto there. Okay, so we're kind of ready now for the vegetation scatter. So the way this tool works is you drag down some of the resources, and we're dragging down some grass and some flowers, and you can see you basically click on the add button. And every time you click, you add like another level or layer of the material. So let's add some weeds. And you can see just by clicking on that disc there, he's only adding it to that selected area because that's the material we're actually clicking on. So one really nice thing here is you can actually use a rubber. And we can change the diameter of this rubber here. And you see by selecting all of the particular materials that we've added, we can just rub all of them out. If you were to select just one or two of them, you can just rub those out and leave the remaining ones. So that's pretty cool. I hope you like the look of that. Let's look at some other examples. So basically let's just kind of change the background to grass as well to make this look a little bit more natural. And that looks pretty cool already. So what do you think of the new scatter tool? I think it's pretty nice. Let's look at a few more examples. So we'll kind of just drag in another disc. We'll see how we get on here. So what should we do for this one? Let's kind of check out some different materials. So I'm going to go across to the background, sort that out. Let's just change to a nice mountainous background. Now you will notice there's a bit of auto light going on here. So because the disc is quite light, it's got some auto light correction. So when we actually drag in the new ground, it corrects that. There's another new feature that we'll probably cover in a later video. So we'll drag down a few more of these nice sort of groundscape materials, click on the plus sign and just add those in. You can see it's just a little bit of a different mix, and the more you click, the more you add, the more you get. I really love the Twinmotion rocks. They've done a really nice job on these. So we can click on those, click on the plus sign, and you see we can sort of easily add those onto the disc as well. Because there were different sizes, we've got a nice randomized mixture and also different size of rotation and so on. So it's great for adding a real variety to your models in a super rapid way. And we can drag in some of the new resources. These are really cool. From the miscellaneous palette, these are the new Quixel sort of mega scan type resources that are now being integrated with Twinmotion as well. So one of the things I really love, the new weather system on Twinmotion 2020 has been improved quite a lot, and you can see when we kind of change the weather, the auto light begins to change, and it looks just a lot more realistic to me, guys. I don't know about you, but what do you think? So you can see that I've kind of slid it down so it's got a nice sort of shiny wet appearance now. I can easily make it a bit more sunny again. Okay, so that's really cool. We'll take a look at that again in a later video. So let's look at a couple more examples of the scatter tool while we're at it. So we're dragging our disc, and we'll go to our materials, to ground, and nature, and we'll go for more of a kind of like stony base this time, so that's quite nice. And again, I'm interested to see what will happen if we drag in more of the rocks. So I'm just going to drag in a few of the different types of rocks from the model, some different size ones here, a few smaller ones as well, and we'll kind of select all of those in the dock, click on the plus sign, and we'll kind of click to scatter those rocks within the area that we've marked, if you like, with the texture. And you can see it's really rapid. You know, we're really able to place a lot of nice random stuff. And what's cool is you can simply turn that on and off or delete it into the manager. So it's all one sort of object, as it were. So it's very easy to sort of manage. If you don't like it, you can turn it off. So essentially what we're doing now is just dragging in some bigger rocks and scaling those a little bit more so get a bit more height into the scene. and you can see pretty nice quality. So let's have a quick look at how these react to the weather. So get back to weather. As we slide down towards the sort of rainier sky, the sky dims, it starts to rain, and then you see these lovely little reflections coming out. You notice the raindrops, and things like the moss is all kind of slimy and reflective. So they've done a beautiful job on improving the rendering quality of certainly the the weather responsive textures and materials. I quite like the snow. I think that's nice, especially if you introduce it sort of quite subtly on the ground like this. So you can see that works pretty well too. If you overdo it, it can look a little bit artificial maybe, so just play around with that. So let's look at a few more examples of the scatter tool while we're at it. So we'll drag in another disk. I find that this is a really good way, having a primitive with a material on that you can then basically work within. It's a great way to sort of practice the tool. So let's go for some sand, and I'm keen to kind of just have a quick look at how it might look with some rocks scattered over that again. We're just going to go for something a little bit different this time. We'll just go for one, because I really want to show you, if you just add one, how not only does it randomize the rotation, it basically makes it really easy to actually kind of place lots at the same time. So under the miscellaneous tab, we can also find some really great other assets, some things like dead leaves. And basically I'm going to click and add some leaves. Now look how rapid that is. Imagine trying to do that sort of manually in the old way. That would have taken a lot longer. So it's a really great tool. The scatter tool really speeds up adding large complex mixes of things in big areas. So just to finish that off, we need a tree perhaps. What we'll do is we're going to just change the season to autumn. That's kind of good. So let's go to autumn, and you'll notice that the leaves start to drop off the tree in autumn, just to finish off that little bit of the scene. So that's pretty nice. Again, we'll just have a little play with the weather. I can't help it. I do enjoy playing with the weather, just the seasons and so on, just to get a different look and feel of the image, because it's such a nice thing to do. Excellent. So I hope you're enjoying it so far. We'll kind of maybe look at one final example. And for this one, we're going to drag in another disk, and we're going to look at basically the vegetation scatter with some bushes. So the new bushes in Twinmotion are really nice. They've done a fantastic job on these, and we'll be looking at these individually in another video. These are basically now come over from the Xrog Studio, and they're much more detailed, and you can see how rapidly I can add those. I've got a feeling we're still in slightly winter mode, so some of those are looking a little bit white at the moment. But yeah, that's kind of cool. You can see, let's drag on some sort of forest mix onto the floor there. That's pretty nice. Yeah, I like that. And let's kind of just finish that off. Let's just have another look at the lighting, see what difference that makes. You can see it really is quite rapid. So let's now work on the wider scene. So let's get some trees, some pretty big trees, like some fir trees, and we'll click plus. And when we click on the entire scene, you'll see amazingly it will basically scatter randomly plants or trees over the entire scene. It does say please wait between the clicks, which is fair enough because it is placing literally hundreds if not thousands of trees. So let's just change that season back up to summer so those trees go green again. But you can see what a great way to create a really big scene with a lot going on. Okay, so let's kind of carry on working up the scene a little bit more towards our final animation. So I'm just going to rub out some of the trees using the rubber mode or the eraser. I'm just going to kind of select the various trees that I'm trying to remove and rub some of those out, just to create a little bit more space around our area here. But when I go up in the sky, you can see really quite astounding the amount of trees. And the more I need, I just click to add more. So it's really super rapid. And I just can't imagine how you would possibly do a scene this large in any other way. It would have taken absolutely ages before. So I'm going to kind of use the eraser. I'm just going to rub out like a nice little kind of like track or road almost. Let's do the same thing with the rocks then. We'll select some rocks and we'll kind of randomly add those. It is a bit extreme because it's to be honest, it's adding it over the entire scene. There's no real need to do that because obviously we don't need to add behind us or in the side sort of areas we're not going to see. But it's no bother. Twinmotion can handle large geometry projects. So apart from the message where it says please wait, work in progress, you can see. So now we're going to move on and show you the final output. So please sit back and relax and enjoy the final output, and we hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe for more videos, and we'll be making lots more 2020 videos shortly. So look forward to you joining the channel. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Ice cold, I'm swimming against the tide. I wanna forget you, but you put